Tonight's dual meet is being broadcast live on ETV's YouTube channel. We'd love to thank ETV and all the ETV volunteers for making this happen. They're the guys in the green shirt up here. And thank you. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, who I'll mention later, and to thank you all the volunteers working today to make all this possible. Tonight we continue our season against our guests, the Prior Lake Lakers. The Lakers are coached by Joe Bollinger, Andy Weiss, Justin Haycraft, and Tia Kelly. The Lakers captains are Caden Chung, Evan Scheidley, Victor Trin, and Tyler Leong. Let's give our guests a warm welcome. And now let me introduce your hometown team, the Eagan Wildcats. The Wildcats are coached by Chris Morgan, Tyler Husko, and our dive coach, Amy Carlson. The Wildcat captains are seniors Dobbin Chong, Sam Johnson, Kuldeep Ratchabatuni, and Miguel San Jose. Tonight's meet is sanctioned by the Minnesota State High School League, and the officials for tonight are Bonnie Key Bowling and Ann Sims. Now, please stand as you're able, remove your caps, as we have Ellie King of the famous Keller, Ellie Keller of the famous Keller alumni to sing tonight's anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Alrighty, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us here at the Dakota Hills Middle School pool for your event of the evening, the Prior Lake Lakers taking on your Eagan Wildcats. Now, this is definitely heating up in here, as it will be a barn burner tonight. The third overall in the state, Prior Lake Lakers, and your seventh overall in Minnesota, Eagan Wildcats, are going to be clashing once more in this iteration of South Suburban Conference Boys Swim and Dive.
Please put your phones on mute.
So at this point, it looks like both sides are just getting ready for that first relay, so the 200 medley relay, starting with the JV and then going into varsity. As it typically goes in swimming and diving, at least in the state of Minnesota, it always goes junior varsity, then varsity, and back and forth between the two as we go through the 12 events of the evening.
These teams have put in a considerable amount of time and effort to get here. Let them know you appreciate it. So have fun. Let's enjoy tonight's meeting.
So I'm definitely thrilled tonight. It's going to be a very close competition, as both teams have been very dominant in this season, with Prior Lake going 7-0 this year, as their final two competitions are up against Eagan and Lakeville South, both either having one loss or no losses at this point. And then Eagan is 6-1, so they're coming off their win from Apple Valley last week, and now looking to get the win here this evening. Now, to remind everybody of the point scoring systems in relays versus individual events, is normally it's going to be in relays, it's going to be 8 points for first place, 4 for second, and then 2 for third. And unlike other events where all three of the competitors for one team can score points. In this event, only 2 teams can score points. So you either get 1-2, 2-3, 1-3, etc. But anyways, looks like the swimmers get in the water. Let's start this thing. So we begin the 200 JV medley relay with lane 1, Ian Chong, Pranav Antivilu, Isaac Krebs, and Evan Binkley. Lane 2, Nolan Goss, Tyler Simmons, Quinson Tran, and Owen Kockelman. Lane 3, Gavin Yang, William Wim, Isaac Erickson, and Vidhan Shrestha. Lane 4, Cameron Peterson, Harry Zeng, Joby Glashagle, and Michael Kelch. Lane 5, John Becker, Sam Frost, Mason Dietering, and Ezra Yarosik. Lane 6, Leo Miklo, Miguel Beltran Lopez, Leon Cesavo, and then Henry Barbado. So just like normal here at Dakota Hills Middle School, lane 1, lane 3, and lane 5 are going to be for the Wildcats. That's going to be lane 1 being the closest to us here from the camera, and then 2, 4, and 6 are going to be Prior Lake. And this sometimes may be adjusted in JV events where one team may not have enough swimmers to compete and they just want to get more swimmers involved. But at this point, though, it looks like the Wildcats have a very dominant position here in lane 3, about 1.5 to 2 body lengths ahead, not far behind lane 1 and lane 5, followed by lane 4, lane 2, and lane 6 that's still struggling a little bit with the breaststroke, but they're just getting onto the butterfly in the next few seconds. Now, JV is counted as well as varsity, but they are 2 separate counting systems. So the JV does have their own competition here as well as varsity, but in the end, varsity is going to be the one that counts towards your conference standings and how you stand to the rest of the state. Now we're closing in the final 25 for lane 3, while finishing it off with Vidhan Shrestha giving a good go, and that's going to be a solid climb. I thought I saw about 27, 28 seconds there for his split, getting the Wildcats a first place. Not too far behind, lane 1 and lane 5, finishing 2 and 3 alike. So that will be a 1, 2, 3 for the Wildcats for JV, but realistically it'll be down to 1. First place and second place, getting them a total of 12 points starting for the JV. And in 4th place, now technically 3rd place, is going to be Prior Lake in lane 4, getting those 2 points. Finally, Henry in lane 6 finishing up there for the Prior Lake Lakers.
All right, event number 2, boys 20-yard medley relay, varsity.
Second time's the charm on that one. Lane 1, we have Brad Simpson, Lucas Hanna, Kuldeep Rajabatuni, and Michael Boom. Lane 2 for the Lakers, Braxton Helmers, Alex Prasanna, Evan Scheibel, and then Matt Odrasik. Lane 3 for the Wildcats, Miguel San Jose, Liam Wiefering, Derek Bango, and Louis Dequetois. Lane 4 for the Lakers, diving in right now, Ethan Cousin, Owen Bodette, Griffin Lining, and then Victor Trin. Lane 5 for the Eagan Wildcats, Josiah Schaffhausen, Dobbin Chong, Aiden Smith, and Braden Hagenbarth. Lane 6 for the Lakers, Cody DeYoung, Alex Zhang, Rowan Wilson, and then Cole Gramlow. So you can really see how strong the relays are for the Lakers right now, getting probably about a 5-second lead already within 100 yards. But not too far behind are the lane 3 and lane 5 for the Wildcats. So it seems that it's not over yet, but with that dominant performance in the first half of the race, the Lakers are going to claim that number 1 spot. But what will really be interesting is seeing how the 2nd and 3rd place shape up to be, and whether this is going to be a clear takeaway for the Lakers or if it's going to be a rather even performance from the both teams. Going into that final 50 here for the Wildcats in lane 3 and lane 5. Solid performances in the butterfly with the 24.76 and 25.83 in lane 3 and 5 respectively. It looks like they are going to hold on unless anything drastic happens here, but we are securing that first place for the Prior Lake Lakers, getting them that 8 points with a 138-29. Not too far behind lane 3 and lane 5. Lane 5 about to out-touch them with a 144-29. Only 0.4 of a second faster than lane 3. Not too far behind lane 2, securing at 149.69. And our outside lanes are just finishing up as they are coming inside the flags right now. So I will say right now that any disqualifications will not be sent up my way, so my scores might be a tiny bit different than what we'll be seeing on the board later on, but for now it's going to be 8-6 for the Prior Lake Lakers. Now we are moving into the 200-yard freestyle junior varsity. So unlike the relays where it's 8 points, 4 points, 2 points, this will be 6 for first, 4 for second, 3 for third, 2 for fourth, 1 for fifth, and then 0 points for last place. So getting that first place and not scoring last are big deals in these events. In lane 1, Evan Binkley. Lane 2, Jackson Wheelock. Lane 3, Tyler Burby. Lane 4, Leon Szabo. Lane 5, Lucas Hanna, and then lane 6, Justin Cheaton. So the 200-yard freestyle is definitely a difficult one to swim, as it is considered a mid-distance in high school, but even as you get into college, it's going to be considered more of a sprint event. So you can see already how fast lane 3 is going with a 26.82 split, and now you're going to have to try to hold that for another 150 yards. Easier said than done. I certainly remember the days of swimming this event, and it never gets any easier, and especially if you're out of shape, like many of us, it is much more difficult to do at this point in time. However, looks like we have quite an even race for second place right now. So lane 3 is way out ahead, probably by about 10 yards. But then lane 1, lane 2, lane 4, and lane 5 are all about neck and neck going into that 100 pace. But even solid times, though, with about a 102, 103 for most of those lanes. Not too far behind lane 6, up at the top of your screen there, is coming in and finishing their fourth length of 8. So before the meet started, I had a chance to talk with Lucas Hanna for the Wildcats. He is a senior this year, and he is looking to attend Iowa State next year with meteorology, which really warms my heart as I am going to school for meteorology myself and broadcasting. But it was definitely interesting to talk to him about weather and just what he got out of high school, and also the storms and the weather that we have here. Unlike the winters that we've normally had, but he's used to those snowstorms and the trees getting knocked down and all that. It was really interesting to just talk with him about just what's beyond swimming, what's beyond going on in high school and the rest of life. But at this moment, though, tuning back to the screen, we'll have lane 3 just finishing up just over that 2-minute mark. So really close to breaking 2 minutes with a 2:01.61, getting that first place for the Wildcats, not too far behind. The pack has stratified a little bit, so it looks like it's going to be a clear second place from lane 4, Leon Szabo. But this will be a close competition between lane 2 and lane 5 for that third spot. That it looks like lane 2 is capturing with a 2:15.75, followed by lane 5 and lane 1. And now lane 6 is just finishing up. They have about 17 more yards, and I can definitely feel for them right now, but they are finishing very strong. That kick is continuing to propel them forward. Definitely important for swimmers not to lose that kick as you get more and more tired as you progress through the event. But this brings us to the event number 4, the boys 200-yard freestyle varsity. And I am personally very excited to see how this one goes, as both teams have lots of depth. 38 to 48 swimmers, with 48 being for the Wildcats and 38 for Prior Lake. And there we go. Lane 1, Mason Dietering. Lane 2, Jamie Solt for the Lakers. Lane 3, Miguel San Jose. Lane 4, Caden Choing. Lane 5, Brad Simpson, and lane 6 for the Lakers, Connor Kelsey. So already with the first 37 yards done. Lane 2, 3, and 4 all neck and neck, so this is definitely going to be a tight race. And definitely a quick one, too. 25:04 from lane 4 with Miguel not too far behind with the 25:12. So this one will definitely set the ground early for what to expect in the rest of the night tonight, as they are still tied going into that 75 mark. Not too far behind, you have lane 5. And lane 1 and lane 6 are trailing a little bit, but still keeping rather steady with the rest of the team. Now that's a solid 100 time by itself, but now do it one more time. That was around 52 seconds for both lane 3 and lane 4. You might notice through the rest of the crowd here is very electric. Even the guys on the deck, most of them are over supporting their friends in the pool right now, as every point is crucial in this meet. I remember when I used to be on the pool deck, one main thing was always it's a 2-point swing whichever way you go. You lose a point, but the other team gains a point, and vice versa. So that 2-point swing means it's big news if you're able to get that swing. But right now, Pirate Lake is definitely going for that 1-2 spot, which will be a very dominant performance for the 200 freestyle, securing them at least 10 points, which secures the victory for the event and sets them forward for the next few events. Now we're closing it here with a solid 147.99, 148.74, and a 150.77, which gives Pirate Lake the first and second position, followed by Eagan taking 3, 4, and it looks like to be 5. So I haven't had a math class in a while, so it might take me a little bit to count up those scores for you, but we'll get there in just a moment. So at this point, if everything's correct, it is Prior Lake having the lead here for varsity, 18-12. And granted, I could be off by 1 or 2 points at any time, but this will be roughly what we're expecting right now. Now we're off on the boys 200-yard individual medley junior varsity. So in lane 1, we have Ian Chong. Lane 2, Cody DeYoung for the Lakers. Lane 3, Gavin Yang. Lane 4, Harry Zheng, Lane 5, McGavin Nee. And then lane 6, Nolan Goss for the Lakers. So unlike the medley relay, which starts on your back in the water, they are able to start from blocks here and start with the butterfly going into backstroke, into breaststroke, and then into freestyle. So it is definitely a test of how good are you at all 4 of the strokes. And a lot of these guys will have a specialty. So in my case, I was a backstroker, so I tended to do a little bit better in the first half of the competition. But then as we went into breaststroke and freestyle, I tapered a little bit. But some of these guys might be a breaststroker or a freestyle. So it's a really dynamic race where you'll see the lead change all the time. And at this point, lane 3 has a very subtle lead over lane 2 and the rest of the pack in lane 1, 4, and 5, followed by lane 6 out on the outside. But we're only halfway through, so anything can happen in this next minute or so as the strokes do change. Good turn from both lane 2 and 3, about neck and neck. Both of their splits within 1/10 of a second from each other. So this will really have to see if this separates them or not. Now all the swimmers are on the breaststroke right now. And to me, this is the stroke that really makes it or breaks it for people. So it's one where it is a difficult stroke to swim fast. It's one that anybody can do, but if you can do it fast, you can definitely pull away from the rest of the group or the rest of the heat that may not be as good as it. And it looks like you are seeing a little bit of growth there from lane 3 as they are pulling away from lane 2, but lane 4 seems to be also very good at this stroke. And it's actually caught up and almost, actually it looks like they did pass lane 3 with a 42.46, so that's 3 seconds faster than lane 3, heading into that final 50 here for most of them. And this will be the battle of how much stamina do you have left? How much do you got it, or how much energy do you have, and can you fight for that last 50 yards? And they're certainly both fighting it for it right now with Gavin Yang and Harry Zheng. We got a close one at the flags. It looks like they're neck and neck, so this will probably be who touches first. And it looks like the Wildcats claim it by 0.2 of a second with a 2:22.98, followed by lane 1 coming in very fast with that 3rd place, and then lane 2, lane 5, and then lane 6 that is just finishing up right now. Nolan Goss, good event. Only an 8th grader, so that is a very impressive start with around a 2:43 or 2:42.88, excuse me. Plenty of growth to be had in the next 4 years. Looks like the officials are consulting a little bit beforehand and going to the review or to the table to talk about something. Could be a disqualification, but I'm not sure at this point. I certainly don't get paid enough to know these things quite yet. But I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to see the next competition, which is the 200-yard individual medley for varsity. All right, there's the official coming back to in front of lane 1. And this will be event 6 of the 24. Beautiful start by all 6. So in lane 1, we have Aiden Smith for the Wildcats. Lane 2 for Prior Lake, Owen Bodette. Lane 3, Dobbin Chong. Lane 4 for the Lakers, Braxton Helmers. Lane 5 for the Wildcats, Liam Weifring. And then lane 6, Matt Andrasek, excuse me. So this seems to be already a very competitive field, a very fast field too, as lane 2 and lane 4 seem to have the start with the butterfly. And I was talking to the head coach earlier for the Lakers, and he was saying that a lot of their swimmers are very good at butterfly and the backstroke. So I do expect them to carry them a little bit in this event. And you see that right now in lane 4. But it looks like Dobbin is gaining some ground with his backstroke in lane 3, not too far behind lane 6, lane 1, and then followed by lane 2 and lane 5. But it looks like lane 4 is pulling out a little bit more to about a body length lead. Let's see if they can keep that in the breaststroke. Beautiful speedy turn there by Braxton, followed by Dobbin and Owen. One thing that's definitely surprising us right now, lane 6 definitely out with a good start. And it seems like they've been holding that too. They're still ahead of Dobbin in lane 3 in this breaststroke. So if the Wildcats really want to see some points, they need to at least take 2nd place to get 4 points rather than possibly falling to 4th place and getting swept in this event. Into the final 50 now. That was very close between lane 3 and lane 6. But, ooh. This is really now a fight for survival here for the Wildcats, as you definitely do not want to start this far back in the first few events of the evening, especially before diving, as this is a very essential to winning the meet, besides the other events, of course. And oh dear, the Wildcats are getting swept in this event, so that's going to be a 13-3 split as the Prior Lake Lakers go 1-2-3. So now the score is 31-15 for the Lakers, and that is definitely a dominant start for Prior Lake, and definitely one that they were probably looking forward to having as they're moving into diving. So now we are moving on to the boys 50-yard freestyle for JV. So these first 2 heats, so there's going to be 3 heats total, and it looks like in this case, this one's going to be both Lakers and the Wildcats, and then the next 2 heats are going to be all Wildcat swimmers. And you can really show for that depth that the Wildcats have with the 48 total swimmers and divers on the pool deck. Seems like we're waiting for one more swimmer to make their way up to lane 3, so I believe that would be Henry Lavole, but we'll see what's happening in just a moment. So it looks like Coach Chris Morgan is talking to the officials right now about where everyone's supposed to be going. So we'll just need just a moment, folks, as they all make it up. We go for the 50-yard freestyle. So this is only 2 lengths of the pool. It is the shortest event of the high school list of events. But in lane 1 we have Ryan Huth. Lane 2 Michael Couch. Lane 3 Henry LeVol for the Wildcats. Lane 4 Alex Zhang. Lane 5 Hunter Lepolt. And lane 6 Owen Copperman. Impressive start here for the Lakers. Lane 4. Alex Zhang is taking that first place with a 26.90. That is a solid performance for Heat 1 of JV, followed by lane 2, lane 3, lane 5, lane 6, then lane 1. Overall, pretty evenly split between the teams. Moving to Heat 2 now. So this is all Wildcat swimmers. So this one is not going to be a proper JV. This one will most likely not count towards the points that are scored for the JV event. For Heat 2, lane 1, Zachary Browning. Lane 2, Jay. Lane 3, Philip Kajan. Lane 4, Ethan Jenkins. Lane 5, Jaden LaPastora. Lane 6, Ethan Schumacher. And all of these swimmers here are either freshmen, sophomores, or juniors, so no seniors yet in this, but we will see them in the next heat. Solid outside lane 6, getting that second place. Very good performance there. You have a 27.49 in lane 4, followed by 28.23 in lane 6, followed by lane 1, lane 3, lane 5, and closing out the event, lane 2. Once again, this will be an all Wildcat event. And for this final heat of JV, lane 1, Sam Frost. Lane 2, Pranav Antavilu. Lane 3, Riley McRoberts. Lane 4, Isaac Krebs. Lane 5, Nolan Luther. Oh, and Nolan Luther is not in this event, excuse me. And then lane 6, Kuldeep Ratchabatuni. So one thing that's definitely nice to see, despite how brief this event is Sam Frost back in the water once more, as he has been out the last few competitions due to some physical injuries, but it's happy to see him get that 26.22 and taking second place from lane 1. So very good performance all around. But first place did get claimed by lane 3 with a 25.47. So now we are on to the final event before diving, and that's going to be the 50-yard freestyle varsity. Former announcers, Gus Broman would say, don't blink or else you'll miss it. This is the 50-yard freestyle. Lane 1, Louis Decourtois. Lane 2, Griffin Lining. Lane 3, Braden Hagenbarth. Lane 4, Victor Trin. Lane 5, Derek Bango. And then lane 6, Evan Scheivel. Oh man, this is a close one. This is probably going to be who touches first. And it looks like Eagan claimed first place. You can hear the crowd right now, very loud. 22-16. Giving the Wildcats a 1-3-5, so they will be winning this event. But man, that was a close one. 1/100th of a second between lane 3 and lane 4. Oh, and excuse me, Oh, no, disregard, sorry, my apologies. But let me count that up real quick and see where we're at. So that will pull them back a little bit since the last one. That would be a 10-6 split for the Wildcats, so that does bring them to 25 to 37. So for Prior Lake. So at this moment, there's going to be a quick intermission before we do go over to diving, as the divers do need to warm up just a little bit before they go into their 6 dives. But in the meantime, enjoy the break, and I will be back with you after the diving. Thank you.
Diving tonight will be from Prior Lake, Henry Barbardo. From Eagan will be Evan Hammonberg. From Prior Lake will be Cole Gramlau. From Eagan will be Ethan Lemon Scott. From Prior Lake will be Luke Schwann. From Eagan will be Stone Larson. From Prior Lake will be Maddox Mork. And our last diver will be from Eagan, Owen Kipp. And I'd also like to take this time to thank again Eagan TV for putting this out on the internet so that all our friends and family around the world can watch. I know personally we have people watching that are out of the country, and they sure enjoy it. And I thank you so much to all the volunteers from Eagan TV for putting this on. All right, we'll be starting up in just a few minutes here if you want to grab your seats again. All right, let's start the diving event. Up first will be Henry from Prior Lake. It'll be a 101A, a forward dive, straight, 1.4. And we have scores of 3, 3.5, 3. Up next, Evan, 401B, inward dive, pike, 1.5. And his scores are 4, 4, and 4. Up next, Cole, 401C, inward dive, tuck, 1.4. And his scores are 4.5, 4.5, and 5. Up next, Ethan, 401B, inward dive, pike. Scores are 4, 4, and 4. Up next is Luke, 402C, inward 1 somersault, tuck, 1.6. Scores are 5.5, 6.5, and 6. Up next, Stone, 401B, inward dive, pike, 1.5. And scores of 8, 7.5, and 7. Up next is Maddox, 401B, inward dive, pike, 1.5. And scores a 7, 7, 7.5. And up last for this round is Owen, 401B, inward dive, pike, 1.5. And scores a 7, 7.5, 6.5. Starting off round 2 is Henry, 201A, back dive, straight, 1.7. And I have scores of 3, 3, and 3. Up next is Evan, 402C, inward 1 somersault, tuck, 1.6. And scores a 3.5, 3, and 3. Up next is Cole, 402C, inward 1 somersault, tuck, 1.6. Just a minute as we have the officials come over. A balk has been declared by the officials. So we have scores of 4, 4.5, or 2, 2.5, and 2. Up next is Ethan, 403C, inward 1.5 somersault, tuck, 2.2. That was a good dive. Judge 2, please. We have scores of 2, 2, and 2.5. Up next is Luke, 403C, inward 1.5 somersault, tuck, 2.2. And we have scores of 5.5, 6, and 6. Up next, Stone, 403B, inward 1.5 somersault, pike, 2.4. And his scores are 8, 8, and 7.5. Up next is Maddox, 403B, inward 1.5 somersault, pike, 2.4. And scores of 6.5, 7, 8. And finishing off the round is Owen, 105B, forward 2.5 somersault, pike, 2.6. And scores of 6.5, 7.5, 7.5. Starting round 3 is Henry, 401C, inward dive, tuck, 1.4. Anyway, scores a 3, 3.5, 3.5. Up next, Evan, 202C, back 1 somersault, tuck, 1.5. And scores a 3, 2, 3.5. Up next is Cole, 101B, forward dive, pike, 1.3. Scores a 3.5, 4, and 3.5. Up next is Ethan, 5223D, back 1 somersault, 1.5 twist, free, 2.3. Scores a 5.5, 5, 5.5. Up next is Luke, 103C, forward 1.5 somersault, tuck, 1.6. And scores a 6, 5.5, 6. Up next is Stone, 405C, inward 2.5 somersault, tuck, 3.1. And scores a 5.5, 4.5, and 5.5. Up next is Maddox, 105B, forward 2.5 somersault, pike, 2.6. And scores a 6, 5, 7. And to finish off the round is Owen, the 403B, inward 1.5 somersault, pike 2.4. And scores a 7, 7, 7.5. Starting off round 4 is Henry, 102C, forward 1 somersault, tuck, 1.4. Scores of 3, 4, 4. Up next, Evan, 103C, forward 1.5 somersault, tuck, 1.6. Certainly, that is a 103C, forward 1.5 somersault, tuck, 1.6. And scores a 4, 4.5, 5.5. Up next is Cole, 103C, forward 1.5 somersault, tuck, 1.6. Scores a 4.5, 5, 5.5. Up next is Ethan, 5124D, forward 1 somersault, 2 twist, free, 2.3. Scores a 4.5, 4, 5. Up next, Luke, 5122D, forward 1 somersault, 1 twist, free, 1.9. Scores a 5.5, 6, 6. Up next, Stone, 105B. Forward 2.5 somersault, pike, 2.6. Scores a 7, 7, and 8. Up next, Maddox, 303B, reverse 1.5 somersault, pike, 2.4. Scores a 5.5, 6.5, 6.5. And finishing off the round is Owen, 5134D, forward 1.5 somersault, 2 twists, free, 2.6. And scores a 8, 8.5, 8.5. All right, starting off round 5 is Henry, 5121D, forward 1 somersault, 1/2 twist, free, 1.7. And scores a 2, 2, and 3. Up next is Evan, 5121D, forward 1 somersault, 1/2 twist, free, 1.7. And that is a no dive. Up next will be Cole, 202C, back 1 somersault, tuck, 1.5. Scores a 3.5, 3, 3.5. Up next is Ethan, 104C, forward 2 somersault, tuck, 2.2. Scores a 4.5, 4.5, 3. Up next is Luke, 302C, reverse 1 somersault, tuck, 1.6. Scores a 5, 5.5, 6.5. Up next is Stone, 305C, reverse 2.5 somersault, tuck, 3.0. And we have scores of 5, 4, 5.5. Up next is Maddox, 52-31D, back 1.5 somersault, 1/2 twist, free, 2.1. Scores of 5.5, 6, 7.5. And finishing off round 5 is Owen, 305C, reverse 2.5 somersault, tuck, 3.0. Scores of 4.5, 4, 5.5. And starting off our final round of 6 is Evan, 302C, reverse 1 somersault, tuck, 1.6. Scores of 4.5, 5, 4.5. Up next is Cole, a 301C, reverse dive, tuck, 1.6. Scores are 5, 5.5, 6. Up next, Ethan, 302C, reverse 1 somersault, tuck, 1.6. Scores are 5.5, 5, 5.5. Up next, Luke, 202C, back 1 somersault, tuck, 1.5. Scores are 5, 5, and 5. Up next is Stone, 203B, back 1.5 somersault, pike, 2.3. And scores a 6, 6, and 6.5. Up next is Maddox, 52-33D, back 1.5 somersault, 1.5 twist, free, 2.5. And scores a 6, 6.5, 7. And finishing off our diving tonight is Owen, the 53-35D, reverse 1.5 somersault, 2.5 twist, free, 3.0. And we have scores of 7.5, 7.5, and 7.5. All right, let's give these divers a big thank you for that. Some awesome diving. We'll get scores for you and results in just a few minutes. For right now, we're going to take a break while the swimmers warm up for the second part of our meet. And the pool is open. Remember, slide in. Yes. 10-minute warm-up. Pool is open. Slide entry feet first only. And since we have a minute while we're warming up here, I'd like to run through our sponsors, who we appreciate so much. Their sponsorship makes pretty much everything you see here available, from the scoreboard to the everything. Anyway, lost my train of thought there. Sponsors: Wildcats Bar and Grill over off of Yankee Doodle and Pilot Knob. Yankee Doodle. We have Wise Swim School in Lakeville, Cynthia's and Carlos Construction out of Indergrove Heights. We have Steve Madden with Morgan Stanley in St. Paul. We have John Mulkern from Ballpark Realty. We have the Ellsmore Swim Shop. We have Twin City Orthopedics and the Training House. And Trail Stop Tavern over off of Lexington and Highway 3. For cleaning services, we got Bar Pad Cleaning, commercial cleaning services. And we have SPS Contracting in Farmington for roofing, siding, and gutters. And Dakota Law. I'll go through more during the 500, but we do appreciate our sponsors, and we'll give them another plug during the 500. If you'd like to become a sponsor, you can pretty much contact anybody with a blue Wildcat shirt on and get your company noticed. we have some diving results for the junior varsity. We have 2 swimmers. Coming in second from Prior Lake is Henry with a score of 71.3. And finishing first for JV for Eagan is Evan, scoring a 90.75. Let's give them a round of applause. Then on the varsity side, we have 6 divers. 6th place goes to Prior Lake with Cole with a 109.7. 5th place goes to Ethan from Eagan with a score of 152.15. 4th place goes to Luke from Prior Lake with a score of 178.25. 3rd place goes to Maddox from Prior Lake with a score of 263.7. 2nd place goes to Stone from Eagan with a score of 281.45. And finishing first is Owen from Eagan with a score of 313.5. Again, that's some awesome diving. Probably you won't see that kind of diving till the state meet. And we appreciate all the efforts the divers put into this. We have about 5 more minutes of open pool, warming up for the rest of our swim meet. All right, time to clear the pool. And if the timers could get back to the starting blocks, we'll get the second half going here.
Alrighty, welcome back, folks. We had that quick 10-minute intermission there for the swimmers to warm back up after that incredible set of diving. And in case you were gone for after the diving was finished, the scores did come in already. So in 6th place, Cole Gramlau for Prior Lake. 5th place overall was Ethan Scott for the Wildcats, taking the spot of Sam Johnson, who is out with injury currently. Lane 4, excuse me, but 4th place is for the Lakers, Luke Schwant. 3rd place was for the Lakers, Maddox Smork. And then 2nd place was Stone Larson, and Owen Kipp took 1st place overall. So that gave the Wildcats a 1st, a 2nd, and a 5th place finish for diving, which allowed them to crawl back just a little bit from that 12-point deficit they were having earlier to a 42-36, with Prior Lake still having the lead. And it looks like they got updated a little bit up on the scoreboard there for the 37-25. That right side being Prior Lake, that left side being Eagan. Oh, and speaking of which, it looks like they just updated it right now. So it looks like the math is right. That's good news for me. I can't say the same for the Wildcats, who are still down by 6, but there's plenty of meat to go, so anything can happen in these moments. Earlier I was talking with the coaches, however, just seeing what was going to be happening today. And of course, both sides, no punches are being held. It's going to be a full force meet, so what you're seeing is what you're getting. No swimming your off events today. But one thing I've noticed is that split relays from the Wildcats, so they've been looking to try to get 2nd place and 3rd place and just give 1st place to the dominant Prior Lake with their medley relay and what could be the 200 freestyle relay. However, right now we are in the 100-yard butterfly junior varsity. Start the second half of our swim meet. Lane 1, Vidal Shrestha. Lane 3, Sam Frost. Lane 4, Rowan Wilson for the Lakers. Lane 5, Isaac Erickson for the Wildcats. And lane 6, Owen Koppelman for the Lakers. Now, the 100 butterfly is a difficult event. I don't think anybody ever claimed that it was easy, but this one is definitely very taxing for the arms and the legs. With the legs really boosting the arms around to complete the stroke. But in this first 50, it looks very close between lane 3 and lane 4. They both were about 29, 32, 33, 34, around there. So very close in the first 50, and it looks like they're remaining that way into the second half of the race. Lane 1 and lane 5 not too far behind, with lane 6 trailing a little bit. But this will probably come down to who has more gas left in this final 25, and I have to say that it's looking to be lane 4, Rowan Wilson, who's going to claim that first place spot in this junior varsity with a 102.77, very solid performance, not too far behind. Frost with 105.52, and then lane 5 with a 107.05. Not too far behind from them, 108.35 in lane 1 from Vidan. And then lane 6 just finishing now, looking just to get under that 125 mark, and they do get that with a 124.17, claiming the 5th place spot. This will bring us to the 100-yard boys butterfly. And this is for varsity, excuse me. Now, the Wildcats are looking to gain some ground here. However, the Prior Lake coaches definitely are thinking pretty strong. They've had a pretty strong season with their butterfly and backstroke, so this could go either way here as both sides have very fast swimmers. Lane 1, Kuldeep Racha Batuni for the Wildcats. Lane 2, Griffin Lining for Prior Lake. Lane 3, Eagan's Derek Bango. Lane 4, Caden Schwing for the Lakers. Lane 5, Riley McRoberts for the Wildcats. And closing it out, Lane 6, Evan Scheibel for the Lakers. And fun fact, this event is all seniors except for Griffin Lining in Lane 2, but it looks like that isn't a problem for him as he is currently second place going into this third 25. But Lane 2 and Lane 4 having a good start, not too far behind. Lane 3, Derek Bango. Bango will need to make some ground to try to secure that first place spot, but I don't know if that's possible in the last 25. Lane 5 and 6 looking neck and neck, battling it out with Lane 1 not too far behind. So this is going to be a very crucial turning point for either side, but it does seem to be a 1-2 finish for the Prior Lake Lakers, and that would be very needed for them to secure this victory if they continue at the pace they're at. Oh wow, Lane 4 with the 52-57, but it looks like Eagan did get out-touched for that fourth place, and Lane 5 with a 104.34, followed by Lane 1 and then Lane 6. So that is a 3-4-5 finish for the Wildcats, which will get them about 6 points. So they are going to drop back down within a 4-point swing to be 52-42. So Prior Lake still ahead by about 10 points as we head into the 100-yard freestyle junior varsity. And I should mention there's 3 heats of this, so we're starting out with an all Wildcats heat with just 3 swimmers. And here we go. In Lane 1, Ryan Huth. Lane 3, Kai Duckett. And then Lane 5, Ezra Jarosik. All Wildcat swimmers, so I'm fairly certain that the Wildcats are going to win this race, but you never know. However, it is 100 freestyle. This is probably one of my favorite events to watch because it's not so quick like the 50 freestyle, but you do have to sprint it all the same, as it is still considered a sprint event. Lane 5 off to a strong start with a 29.34, not too far behind Lane 3 with a 30.23, and then Lane 1 with a 32.80 split. So all solid performances for that first 50, and the real question is how well can you hold that in the second 50? A lot of swimmers will die out after about 60 to 70 yards because they used all that energy in the first half. But for those swimmers that are able to hold on and even get a faster time in the second half of the event, those are the ones that can win it. And right now it looks to be very close between Lane 5 and Lane 3. This will probably be whoever can touch the wall first. And it looks like that one extra stroke is going to cost Lane 3 just a little bit, as Lane 5 does take a 104.29 for that first place spot, and just 4 100ths behind Lane 3. And Lane 1 finishes with a 114.33 to claim third place. Now, one thing that's been a consistent theme tonight is the out touches and how the pacing into the wall goes. So you might have noticed in that last event, Lane 3 took a little extra stroke just to try to finish quicker, while Lane 5 glided in. And that can sometimes make the difference in just understanding where you are at the wall in order for the outcome of the race. Another example is the 50-yard freestyle that you saw earlier with Hagenbarth beating out Victor Trin by 1 100th of a second. So this is heat 2 of 3 of the 100-yard freestyle junior varsity, and the Lakers are here in this one. So lane 2 is going to be Cameron Peterson for the Lakers. Lane 3, Preston Dunn for the Wildcats. Lane 4 for the Lakers, Justin Tootie. Lane 5 for the Wildcats, Ethan Schumacher. And then lane 6, Quinson Tran for the Prior Lake Lakers. So it seems to be a pretty good start for the Wildcats. Lane 3 taking an aggressive start with a solid 28-24, followed by a 30-14 from lane 5, and not too far behind are lane 2 and lane 1. So my guess is it's going to be a battle for the second place here. Lane 1 and lane 2 are definitely neck and neck, and lane 5 I think is just out a little bit in front of them, but it is very close. And this next 25 is going to dictate it all. Followed by lane 6 still, lane 4 and lane 6 still falling behind a little bit, but they're not out of the race. And as we approach the final 5 yards, lane 3, Preston Dunn is going to claim first place with a 59.93, getting under that 1 minute mark, which is very exciting. And it looks like, based on the reactions to the rest of the team, that is an under a minute, first time under a minute, which is a huge accomplishment for any swimmer in any event. So I'm very proud of him myself. having been there at one point. However, lane 2 claims that second place with a 102.73. Lane 1 claims third. And then 4th, 5th, and 6th are with lane 5, lane 4, and lane 6, respectively. Now we're into the final heat of the JV for the 100 freestyle. And this one will have 4 Wildcat swimmers. They will be claiming lane 2 from the Lakers in this heat. Or else there are 2 Lakers still in lane 4 and lane 6. Oh. Well, I guess Michael Boom in lane 2 is not going to be present for this one, but lane 1 is present, and that's Isaac Erickson for the Wildcats. Lane 3, Bergen Rollwing for the Wildcats. Lane 4 for the Lakers, Jackson Wheelock. Lane 5, McGavin Nee for the Wildcats, and then Tyler Simmons taking the lane 6 for the Prior Lake Lakers. Now, this is definitely a young crew here. You got 2 freshmen, 2 sophomores, and 2 juniors, so plenty of development to go. But all of them are neck and neck with lane 3, lane 4, and lane 5, all in the 27-28 range, which is a very good start for any swimmer in JV, followed by lane 1 and lane 6 seeing a 30.87 and a 36.18 respectively. Into that final 25, it looks like the Wildcats have just a very small margin of victory here, probably about a quarter of a body length, and if they can hold that, they will take first place in this event, and it looks like they will. Bergen Rollwing getting a 56.03, followed by a 56.94 for Jackson Wheelock. In lane 5, we have a 59.95 getting under that minute mark, and then lane 1 finishing with a 105.44. Then in lane 6, Tyler Simmons, our freshman from Prior Lake, closing us out for the JV 100 freestyle. Nice solid performance, 122.05. Still has plenty of years left on the team, 3 more years after this, so plenty of time for development to get that time down. Hopefully, like Preston Dunn in the last heat, getting under that minute mark someday. And now we are on to the boys 100-yard varsity for freestyle. Seeing a little bit of movement there, so the officials are going to call off that start. And there we go. All right, lane 1, Tyler Burby for the Wildcats. The Lakers, Victor Trim. Lane 3, Braden Hagenbarth. Lane 4, Ethan Clausen. Lane 5, Louis Decotois. And then lane 6, Matt Odrisek. So you might see a repeat of the battle between Braden and Victor in lane 2 and lane 3. And it definitely seems that the Prior Lake Lakers are taking this one by the horns as they claim the first and second place in that first half, and we'll have to see if Braden can catch up some ground here to settle the scores. But I don't think so. With the last 25, lane 4 taking the lead, lane 2 not too far behind, with Braden just about a half a body length behind. We'll see if he can catch it. However, lane 5 and lane 6, that's also an important fight there. Wildcats trailing just a little bit as lane 1 gets claimed by first place gets claimed by lane 4, and it looks like the Prior Lake is going to take a 1-2-4 victory in this event, which is going to give them a lot of points, about 12 if I remember correctly. So they're beginning to pull away a little bit now. It looks like it's going to be 64-46 for the Prior Lake Lakers as we head into the 500-yard freestyle junior varsity. So it seems like the officials are giving a few words about quieting down to the swimmers on both sides, as it is a very electric environment here tonight, as a lot is on the minds of both teams. For the Wildcats, this is their one shot at even getting first place in the conference, as if they win tonight and the Prior Lake Lakers win their next competition against the Lakeville South Cougars, they will then all tie for first place. However, if the Prior Lake Lakers can claim the win tonight, they just need to beat Lakeville South or tie Lakeville South to win that conference. 500, our favorite distance event in high school swimming and the only distance event in high school swimming. So lane 1 is Ethan Jenkins for the Wildcats. Lane 2, senior Jobe Glashagel, for the Lakers. Lane 3, sophomore Ian Chong for the Wildcats. Lane 4, junior Cole Gramlau for the Lakers. Lane 5, freshman John Becker for the Wildcats. And then lane 6, 8th grader Miguel Beltran Lopez for the Prior Lake Lakers. So the 500 is a very difficult event. I know I've been saying that about a lot of them, but in each way, each of them have their own unique things that make them difficult. For the 100 butterfly, it's just the stroke itself. For the 200 freestyle, it's sprinting a distance. For this one, it's just being such a long event compared to the other ones. It's usually swimmers divided into they're divided into sprints, mid-distance, and distance swimmers, and this is definitely the distance category. So very different breed of swimmers because you have to be able to swim fast for 6 minutes and not necessarily sprint, but keep up a good pace like they are right now with a solid 34-40 coming from lane 3 and many of the others that are still close by in lanes 1, 4, and 5. On the other side of things, though, we're looking for future swimming events of the next week or so. Prior Lake is taking on Lakeville South on Tuesday, so that will settle what the conference, who's going to be winning the conference, as both Lakeville South, Prior Lake, and Eagan are all looking for it at the moment. And I talked about that briefly earlier. So there is a chance for Eagan to win the conference. I say win, but tying for the victory of the conference, South Suburban Conference. But Prior Lake has greater odds at the moment to win this meet and then also go against Lakeville South and hopefully win against them to secure that the conference championship. And then after that, it moves on to JV champs next Saturday. So 8 days from now will be JV champs for both teams, where Prior Lake is in Section 2AA, and some schools in that conference include Chanhassen, Minnetonka, Burnsville, and Shakopee. So you do have some very strong teams there, like Minnetonka. And I was talking to the head coach of Prior Lake earlier, and having such an intense section with teams like Minnetonka, who have been dominant in the last decade or so, it's been very important to. It basically sets the scene for what state's going to be like, as it makes sections a little less scary. Or it makes state a little less scary as you have a hard section. And it's more of a training ground for some of the swimmers, because if they can compete there, they will be able to compete fairly well at the state competition for AA. As for your Wildcats, they're going to be having senior night next Tuesday here at the Dakota Hills Middle School at 6 p.m. with the Eastview Lightning being hosted by the Wildcats. And that's looking to be a solid event. In the past couple of years, the Eastview Lightning have declined a little bit from their status in the late 20-teens, but they're still a force to be reckoned with in the South Suburban Conference, despite their lower numbers that have decreased or dwindled over the last few years. Then the Eagan Wildcats do have JV champs as well next Saturday for Section 3AA. So that includes teams like Eagan, Eastview, Rosemont, Apple Valley, and more. And I'm certainly looking forward to it. I might not be in Minnesota at that point, but I will be happy to watch the Wildcats swim once more as a team. So at this point, it looks like a lot of the swimmers are getting into the halfway point, some of them even beyond that, getting to the 13th length there in lane 5. Same with lane 3. And a little bit farther behind is lane 2 and lane 4 for the Lakers. So you can definitely tell that the 500 freestyle, it affects everybody differently. Some people like to take it out fast, some people like to take it out slow and build or maintain a certain pace depending on how they like to swim. I believe I talked about this last time I was here, but someone like Jackson Keller, who was a very talented 500 freestyle, and you might see his record up on the board for the boys' record in 2020. And he liked to take it out very quickly, but he would get faster as he went into the second half of the competition, or the second half of that race. And for someone that definitely could not do negative splits like that, I don't know how he did it, but he certainly left his mark at this high school, excuse me. But going back down to the pool right now, it looks like mostly everybody's on the 17th or 15th length, except for lane 6 that's trailing behind just a little bit. I can tell they're definitely feeling the burn of this longer distance events. and my sympathies are with them, as I was at that stage at one point. Now you might notice that the official is going to be hovering over lane 3 and ringing the bell, which means that for that swimmer that's in lane 3, it is the final 50. And this is just to help them keep track in case the counter is off, but also just to tell the other swimmers, like, hey, we're almost done with the event. This is the make or break time for any of the swimmers. So lane 3 and lane 5 are claiming that 1-2 spot rather easily. Just a matter of which one is going to get it. However, behind them we have lane 1 and then lane 2 and 4, and then trailing lane 6. So in the final few yards here, lane 3, Ian Chong going to claim a 5:49.72, followed by a 5:52.25 from John Becker. And that's definitely a good start for John Becker with just a freshman. Plenty of time to drop, and over the next 3 years, very, very satisfying performance. And it looks like lane 1 just touched in with a 6:06. Ethan Jenkins, our sophomore at Eagan High School. Followed by, it looks lane 2 is finishing up right now with probably about a 6:28, 6:29, 6:28.45, claiming 4th place. There we go, lane 4 finishing that marathon of a race, 6:47.98. They're taking 5th place overall in the JV heat. And now we have about another 85 yards left for our friend in lane 6, Miguel Beltran Lopez, the 8th grader. And this certainly brings me back to a story of when I used to swim the 1,000-yard freestyle for club. There was a time where some of the greats at this school, so we have Zach Dawson, Jared Dawson, Eli Broman. You might know the Broman dynasty fairly well if you're an avid swim and dive fan, as well as many other great swimmers like Sam Pekarik, who swam for Eastview. We're all in a race against me. And at this point, I was at like a 7th, 8th grade. They were much older than me, and I was lapped a few times in that 1,000. Definitely enjoyed myself, but it was definitely a humbling experience. And I'm thankful, though, that we do not have to swim the 1,000, both for my past self in high school and also for the future swimmers. The 1,000 is a very lengthy and taxing event. But we're in the final 30 yards now. 30 yards now for Miguel. And one thing you might have noticed just now is that the signs that they carry when counting has that red marker on it. And that's similar to the bell that just tells them, hey, last 25, this is it. You got to put everything you can. You can see that right here. Oh, really, really pulling it, excuse me, kicking a little bit harder than the last 50 or 100 and finishing strong with an 8:29.78. Good for him. You can definitely see the power that he had left there in that last 25, and let's hope that we can see faster times from him in the future as he develops with his team over in Prior Lake. Now we're into the boys 500-yard freestyle varsity. So this one is gonna be still quite a distance. Josiah Schaffhausen in lane 1 for the Wildcats. Lane 2, Alex Prasanna for the Lakers. Lane 3, Mason Dietering for the Wildcats. Lane 4, Jamie Solt. Lane 5, Brad Simpson for the Wildcats. And then lane 6, Connor Kelsey for the Prior Lake Lakers. And one thing mentioning the development of Prior Lake, they have been a dominant team in the last decade or so. I have never seen them be below 500 in any season. So they're having a very good season. Earlier I mentioned they're 3rd overall in the state right now. So they will definitely have a stake at winning the state championships this year for the AA division within Eagan, or within boys swim and dive, excuse me. But as well, they're next week for the section 3A or I believe the JV champs are going to be at Prior Lake, and I could be wrong, so please correct me. But Prior Lake, their facilities are wonderful. 8-lane pool, very deep. You have a nice diving well like we have here at Dakota Hills, so that the swimmers can cool down and warm up between their events. Definitely one of my favorite places to swim, and definitely a place that I would love to go in the future with the Wildcats. But bringing ourselves back down to our current situation, it looks like lane 4 is out ahead just by about 2 or 3 body lengths. Not too far behind is 1, 2, 3, and lane 5. All rather neck and neck right now, but there's plenty of race left for the situation to change a little bit. Now, pacing is everything in this event, so you'll see that sometimes some of these guys are going to be shaking their boards over at the side. And that's probably because the coaches are not happy with the pace that they're going at. Granted, they're usually not happy at whatever pace you're going at, but at least that's in my experience. But it's usually to tell them just to go a little bit faster. They're probably trying to meet a certain interval. So you'll see some of these swimmers have like a 31.77 in lane 3, which is still really fast. They might want them to hold 32 or better throughout the race, and that will be to maybe get a record time for themselves or just to hold a certain pace against the opponents. At this point, though, lane 4 is really taking the lead, has probably about a 12.5-yard lead that the others will have to make up if they want to see first place. But lane 5 and lane 2 are competing for second, with lanes 1 and 3 not too far behind. Oh yeah, and I'm just getting word now that the JV championship meet is going to be at Hidden Oaks Middle School on February 10th, which is the Prior Lakes, I believe is the Prior Lakes Middle School for training. Thank you very much. As for the current situations that are unfolding, lane 5 and lane 2 still neck and neck going in, and now we're past the halfway point. They're all on the 13th length, minus lane 6 that's just about to get to that point right now. But overall, it's been a very competitive race, still seeing 31s and 32s across the board for the splits, which is still rather significant considering they have to do that about 10 times, or do that 31, 32 seconds about 10 times. But this really means a lot to the Wildcats. They need to secure that 2, 3, 4 spot, considering the likelihood of them taking first is diminishing at this given moment. But in order to take back some of those points, you need at least 2nd, 3rd, and 5th to tie the event 8-8, and then 2nd, 3rd, 4th to win the event, even if you don't take first place. So normally in swimming, there's only 16 points that can be divided between the 2 teams in each event. So one strategy that the Wildcats have been trying to go for this event, or this meet, has been going for those 2, 3, 4 spots so that they can still win, but by slim margins. And right now we're trying to see if that pays off. That gamble is paying off for Eagan. And they'll really have to change some things now in this last 100 yards, as they are falling behind the lane 2 leader of that small pack. And the bell is ringing, so the final 50 for our 500, and that's claimed by lane 4 with Jamie Schultz, the freshman. Wow, he'll probably see about 5 minutes for his time, even less, which is very impressive at such a young age. Going into that final 50 now for the rest of the pack. It looks like lane 2 is pulling ahead a little bit more. Lane 5 not too far behind. 3 and 1 are faltering, but there's still fight left in them. Let's see how it goes into this final 25. Lane 6 just finishing their final, or their 450 mark, getting into that final 50 yards of the marathon itself. And it seems like Prior Lake is going to claim that 1-2 spot, which is very important for them to secure this victory tonight. Followed by lane 5 with a 5:12:20, and then lane 3, and then lane 1 claiming 4th and 5th with 5:14:32 and then a 5:15:68. Followed by lane 6, that's going to see around the 5:30 mark, and it looks like they're going to get a 5:30:77. So this is really going Prior Lake's way tonight. Getting that 1st and 2nd position in the 500 is huge for them, as they were ahead by about 18 points, I believe, before this, and they'll be going even farther ahead as we go into this next event. So at this point, I got a score of 74-54 for the Prior Lake Lakers. So they are up by 20, and that magic number is only 20 points off for them. 94 is the amount of points you need to win the entire meet. So with it closing down to the 200 freestyle relay, we'll need to see a lot of changes for the Wildcats if they want to see a victory tonight. That being said, we are now into the 200-yard freestyle relay junior varsity. So lane 1 is going to be the Wildcats with Michael Boom, Ezra Jarosik, Jaden LaPastora, and then Kai Duckett. Lane 2 for the Lakers is Leo Miklo, Tyler Simmons, Michael Kelch, and Henry Barbado. Lane 3 for the Wildcats, Bergen Rollwing, Isaac Krebs, Sam Frost, and Evan Binkley. Lane 4 for the Lakers, Owen Kockelman, Leon Cezabo, Jove Glashagle, and then Connor Kelsey. Lane 5 for the Eagan, Preston Dunn, McGavin Mee, Janvit Siraburi, and then Lucas Hanna. Lane 6, it only has 3 swimmers, so I'm not sure how that's going to work, but Justin Tuti, Queenson Tran, and then Miguel Beltran Lopez. So at the moment, it looks like lane 3 and lane 5 are taking a good lead here. Behind them is lane 1, lane 4, and then lane 2. And we're into the final leg for lane 3, a solid 26-25 for that third split by Davin Chong. No, sorry, not Davin Chong. My apologies. Sam Frost. There we go. But lane 4 and lane 5 really battling it out to see who's going to take second place, as they are both rather even going into the flip turn, with lane 4 just having the edge. Behind them is lane 1 and lane 2 respectively, as this will be a photo finish. We'll have to see. And it looks like lane 5 just beats lane 4 out by 6/100ths of a second with the 156.96, followed by lane 4, lane 1 with a 201.92, lane 2 taking 5th with a 207.22, and lane 6 closing us out. I guess they did find that 4th swimmer for their relay, claiming 216.83. So I guess my counting was a little bit off. My apologies, folks. It's 52.74 for the meet, so looks like the Lakers are up by about 22 points at the moment. And now we're starting the varsity 200-yard freestyle relay. Lane 1, Riley McRoberts, Tyler Burby, Bergen Rolling, and Hunter Lippolt for the Wildcats. For Lakers in lane 2, Matt Ondrasik, Evan Scheibel, Cody DeYoung, and then Jamie Solt. Lane 3 for the Wildcats, Louis Decotois, William Wynn, Davin Chong, and Derek Bango. Lane 4, Victor Trim, Owen Bodette, Griffin Lining, and Caden Chung. Lane 5 for the Wildcats, Miguel San Jose, Liam Weefring, Josiah Schaffhausen, and Braden Hagenbar. Lane 6 for the Prior Lake Lakers, Jackson Wheelock, Alex Zhang, Rowan Wilson, and Harry Zhang. A very commanding lead going into that third leg for the Lakers, as they have about a 2 body length lead over the Wildcats, but the Wildcats are claiming that second and third spot as of now, neck and neck in lane 3 and lane 5, and then not too far behind lane 2. Lane 2 can still make an impact on this one if they want to try to take that third place spot, but they will have to make some changes real quick. Lane 1 and lane 6 a little bit behind, but still in the heat. And we're into the final leg here. I would say that is a secured victory for the Prior Lake Lakers, but let's not talk too soon. Lane 3 taking a little bit of a lead on lane 5 as we approach that final 20 yards. Lane 2 not too far behind, probably about 3 body lengths. Lane 1 and lane 6 fighting for that 5th place position. And this is going to be a 2-3 for the Wildcats, so they are going to lose this event by about 2 points, but it minimizes any losses that they would have taken. So that brings the total to 82-58 for the Prior Lake Lakers. As we head into event 19 of 24. This is the 100-yard backstroke junior varsity. And personally, one of my favorite events in all of swimming. It's sprint, it's backstroke. You get to breathe most of the time, minus the flip turn. What else could you want? Officials must have seen something. All right, and there we go. All right, lane 1, John Becker for the Wildcats. Lane 2, Nolan Goss for the Lakers. Lane 3, Gavin Yang for the Wildcats. Lane 4, Cameron Peterson for the Lakers. And lane 5, Vidan Streshpa for the Wildcats. So far, lane 1, 3, and 5 are rather close, with 2 and 4 just a little bit behind. Not too sure who's going to be in the lead at the moment going into the flags, but it is looking like lane 5 has just the edge over lane 3 and 1, seeing a 31 even for their split, followed by a 31.62 and a 34.05 from lane 1, as well as lane 2 and lane 4 not too far behind with a 35.25 and 36.94. As we go into this final 25, it looks like lane 5 does have a little bit of the lead, and if they can retain that lead for the next about 10 seconds, they will claim first place in this JV event, followed by lane 3 taking second. But I do see some energy there from lane 3, and this might be a photo finish once again. Very close, only 16 100ths apart, but lane 5 does take that first position with 104.61, followed by a 104.77 in lane 3. Lane 1 getting the 110.16, giving the Wildcats a 1-2-3 victory here in the 100-yard backstroke JV, followed by lane 4 and lane 2 for 4th and 5th. Here's the 100-yard backstroke varsity. So it's event 20. Lane 1, Josiah Schaffhausen for the Wildcats. For the Lakers in lane 2, Braxton Helmers. Lane 3, Miguel San Jose. Lane 4, Ethan Cousin. Lane 5, Eden Smith. And lane 6, Alex Prasanna. Wow, what a streamline from lane 4. And that's a very dominant way to pull yourself out in front of the pack. And it looks like they're going to try to claim victory in this first 50 altogether with a 24.94. That's faster than some people's 50-yard freestyle. Not too far behind, we got a 27.06 from lane 2 and 27.51 from lane 3. Miguel wants to take that second place spot. He'll need to pull a little bit harder and kick a little bit harder to see that second place prize. Behind them, though, lane 6 is just outpacing lane 5, and then lane 1 claiming the last place position. However, looking back to the finishing wall, 51.04 for lane 4 for Ethan Cousin, followed by lane 2 with a 55.20, and Miguel in lane 3 with a 55.93. Oh, and it looks like that's going to be a pool record for Ethan Cousin. So normally our pool record was a 52.43. That was actually made last year, or in the 2022-2023 season, or the 2021-2022 season, my apologies, by Rosemont. And very impressive, as the record prior to that had stood for quite a long time. So congrats to Ethan on his record here at the Dakota Hills Middle School pool. And with that finish, though, that's going to give the Wildcats even further into the deficit, as Prior Lake does take the 1-2-4, which is going to get them, I believe, the points they need to win the event this evening. So if I have it right, it is 94-62 for Prior Lake, which does secure the victory for them. However, we still have a couple events left, so let's enjoy them, shall we? 100-yard breaststroke JV is Isaac Krebs in lane 1 for the Wildcats. For the Lakers in lane 2, Leo Miklo. Lane 3, Pranav Antivilu for the Wildcats. Lane 4 for the Lakers, Tyler Simmons. Lane 5, Preston Dunn. And lane 6 for the Lakers, Michael Kelch. And one thing that's very important that you'll see in lane 3 right now is that very long strides that you see with every pull and kick. And this is one of the events where you really want to let the water do the work for you. So as you take that pull and glide, you really want to just let your body travel a little bit before you take the next stroke, because if you're just taking strokes over and over again at a super fast pace, you're not going to go anywhere. So this one is definitely a fine balance between having that strong tempo that you're seeing in lane 3 and lane 5, but also making sure that you're not gliding for too long where you slow down. As we approach the final, about 10 yards here, it looks like this is going to be a Wildcat victory for the JV, with lane 3 just beating lane 5 with a 1:15.57, followed by, okay, our board's messed up a little bit. Lane 5 did get about a 1:16.117. Lane 3 is accurate with a 1:18.81, and then lane 4 with a 1:22.96. And as we approach lane 2 and lane 6 are just finishing up right now with 1:38.34 in lane 6 for the fifth spot, and then closing it out in lane 2, 1:39.78. It looks like the officials are discussing something, so there could have been a disqualification here, but I'm not quite sure, as I am out of earshot from what they are saying. But sometimes the kicks sometimes breaststroke is one of the harder events in making it legal, especially with the whip kick that they have, as well as underwater pullouts being very specific to the standards that you need. So we are now on to the boys 100-yard breaststroke varsity. This is event 22 of 24, so we are almost through it, folks. So at this point, it's personal pride. Personal pride for a lot of them. 100-yard breaststroke varsity. William Nguyen in lane 1, lane 2, Alex Zhang for the Lakers, lane 3, Dabin Chong, lane 4, Owen Bodette, lane 5, Liam Weifering for the Wildcats, and then Harry Zhang in lane 6 for the Lakers. It seems to be rather even here between lane 3 and lane 4. Lane 4 just about a half a body length ahead, but that can easily change going into the second 50. Claiming that 29 even for that first 50, followed by a 29.62 from lane 3. Outside of those middle two lanes, you have lane 5 and lane 1 really fighting for it, as lane 2 and lane 6 are falling behind a little bit more. Into the third wall, Prior Lake still has the lead in lane 4, but not by much. That underwater pullout did help them quite a bit, though, as they were able to go about 1/3 of the pool length just in pushing off the wall. And it seems that Dobbin is falling behind a little bit more, probably ran out of steam just a little bit, claiming that second spot though, and it is going to seem to be a 2-3-4 finish for the Wildcats, so they might have wanted to see this a little bit earlier on in the races, as that was 2-3-4 does get you 9 points of the 16, which would be a victory for the event for the Wildcats. So I believe that gets us to a score of 101 to 71 for the Lakers. And I'm not sure tonight if they're going to be doing exhibition points or not. So for those of you that are unfamiliar with exhibition points, that is when you do hit that magic number of 94.
Freestyle relay, and then junior varsity.
Excuse me. And then after that point, then any time after that, the points will be awarded to the other team. So something is clearly happening at the point as Chris Morgan, the head coach for the Eagan Wildcats, is moving towards lane 4. So either something's happening with the swimmers or there's going to be some talking between the coaches at this time. And it could be an issue with the the pads, as he did pick up some of the equipment that's beneath the blocks. Not quite sure what's going on, but I'll let you know once I hear anything. All right, I believe we're almost good to go. The officials are saying some stuff, but I know that it looks like the equipment's still working. I'm sorry for any confusion on your end. I'm just confused as you are, but it seems like we're able to get things underway once more. Now this is the final JV event of the evening. And let's finish strong here for both teams. For the JV, we got lane 1, Henry Lavole, Zachary Browning, Philip Cousin, excuse me, and then Ryan Huth. And then for lane 2, you have Justin Tucci, Quinasan Tran, Miguel Beltran Lopez, and a 4th swimmer that is not marked on here. Lane 3 for the Wildcats, Lucas Hanna, Isaac Erickson, McGavin Yee, and Evan Binkley. And then lane 4, Jobe Glashagle, Leo Miklo, Cameron Peterson, and then Henry Barbado. Lane 5 for the Wildcats, Ethan Schumacher, Ethan Jenkins, Ezra Jarosik, and then Michael Boone, which I'm guessing has changed since I didn't see him earlier, but I am not certain as it's hard to see faces from so far up here. And I believe we're now into the final length of the first swimmers. And it seems that lane 3 does have a lead by about 1.5 body lengths. A pretty solid start there from Isaac Erickson, our freshman. It is actually, a freshman. Followed by lane 5 and lane 4 respectively, with a splits of, it seems to be probably roughly 33s for both of them. Our thing is still getting messed up over on the board, so you might see some weird numbers coming from lane 5. Not too far behind though, lane 2 and lane 1 just diving in now for their second swimmers. However, lane 3 really trying to get ahead of the game here, as they are now on their third length of the second leg. Now, the 400 freestyle relay is quite the team effort, so just like the 200 freestyle relay, this is sprint freestyle, and that's all you're going to get from it. However, just having that little bit more endurance, especially as the last event of the competition, this is where you have to bring all the energy that you have, every last breath, every last just muscle being used is important here for success. And some events or some competitions are decided by this event, as in closer meets, this can sometimes be the event that you either win, tie, or lose. It looks like we got our third leg going for the Wildcats here in lane 3 and lane 1, followed by, lane 3 and lane 5. There we go. Sorry, it's a little hard to keep track occasionally, but we're still tracking. But lane 1 and lane 2 are going on to their third leg right now. But if I have everything else correct, then it'll be lane 3, followed by lane 5, followed by lane 4. I think we got it all figured out as they head into our fourth leg in just a moment, as lane 3 has about 10 more yards until that final 100. Now, there is some pressure with being the anchor swimmer in these events, as the team is counting on you, especially in those closer races, is there's no other person that can make up ground after you. You are the final person. So there is some nerves in going last, but there's also some thrill, as you know that the team is counting on you for these things. Lane 5 just diving in now, followed by lane 4 in just a moment. And then lane 1 and lane 2 still on their third leg, trailing behind a little bit. But we'll see them coming soon, as some of them are stepping up. Huth is stepping up on the block right now in lane 1. For that final 50 though, looking strong. That's solid times from both lane 3 and lane 5. 25-28 in lane 5. And for a moment it just mentioned that they got first, but no, they still have 50 left. So ignore that for now. But they will most certainly claim second place in this JV 400-yard freestyle relay. And there we go. The first finisher is here with a 4:01.88. Don't trust that pesky board, as they did take first in lane 3, followed by lane 5, getting about, if it doesn't show, it's about a 4:13, 4:13 around there. I'm not sure to why they see a 4:08 on that, but as for the other lanes, it seems that we are into the, well, it looks like lane 2 has disappeared, so I'm not sure what's happening there. They could just be running 3 swimmers and calling it at that point, which I have seen before in past races. Technically, it isn't legal, but it is still good experience for those 3 swimmers. Lane 4 just claimed that third place with a 4:40.16, and the Wildcats are in the final, about 20 yards here, finishing strong with Ryan Huth. And there we go, 5:02.98 to claim 4th place overall in the event. And sadly, we are down to the last event of the evening. It is the 400-yard freestyle relay for varsity. And I'm certainly not surprised to see almost the rest of both teams down at the end supporting their lane 3s, lane 4s, and all of the lanes really. But we know those middle 2 lanes are always going to capture the most attention in these races. But looking at it right now, it seems that both teams have very strong performances, or very strong swimmers in both these. I know the Lakers, I was talking with head coach Chris Morgan earlier, and he was definitely humbled by how fast the Prior Lake Lakers have. They have so much depth for their 400 freestyle relay, so I'm excited to see a good swim here in the coming moments. Taking the helm for lane 1, Gavin Yang, followed by Zachary Browning, Bergen Rollwing, and Henry Laveau. Lane 2 for the Lakers, Alex Persana, Rowan Wilson, Connor Kelsey, and Cody DeYoung. Lane 3 for the Wildcats, their A relay composes of Aiden Smith, Mason Dietering, Tyler Burby, and Brad Simpson. Followed by lane 4, which has a very impressive start so far from Caden Chung. Braxton Helmer is following him, Jamie Solt, and then Ethan Cousin, who broke that record earlier in the 100 backstroke, if I remember correctly. And then lane 5 is going to be Riley Roberts, Ian Chong, Vidon Streshka, and then William Wynn. Lane 6, the C relay is for the Lakers, is Jackson Wheelock, Cole Gramlau, Leon Sabo, and Nolan Goss. And wow, was that a fast first leg for the Lakers, around 50 seconds. And that's off a flat start, meaning that they didn't get that winding relay start that you see from the second legs. But not too far, or a fair bit behind, but not out of it, is lane 3, followed by lane 2, lane 5, lane 6, and then lane 1 in that order. However, the back of the pack between lane 5 and lane 6 is going to be a battle. As right now they're both vying for that 4th spot. Lane 3 solid splits 27:09, and hoping that they'll continue that trend in the second 50. But it looks like they're all the racers minus lane 4 are losing ground against that tide, the tide of unstoppable water and energy, I guess. I don't know what I'm saying at this point, because it's just so impressive watching how fast this team is competing in lane 4, excuse me. following them right now, lane 3, lane 2, and now lane 5 and lane 6 are diving into the water at the top of your screen for your third leg. And at this point, lane 4 is 25 yards ahead. That's going to be hard to make up for any swimmer, no matter the magnitude of if you're Olympian or just a high school swimmer, as we're seeing here. Now, closer to the back of the pack, it does look like the lanes are getting really, or are starting to get stratified. So lane 3 is in that second spot. Lane 2 is in third, and then 4th and 5th are claimed by 5 and 6 respectively. As we are in the final leg already for the Prior Lake Lakers, as they are overtaking both lane 6 and lane 5 as we speak. And now lane 3 diving in, finishing their last 100, hopefully with a solid time to keep that second place spot. Lane 2 just diving in as the flip turn happens in lane 4. And then lane 5 hopping in right now, lane 6 and lane 1 close, but 6 is just edging them out just a tiny bit for that 5th place spot. And cruising into a nice low 320s in lane 4. They will have their finish with a 3:21.42 to secure that victory for the Prior Lake Lakers tonight, as this is the last event. It was definitely a thrilling one to watch this evening, as well as that event in particular, as that was a very, very strong performance from the Lakers in lane 4. Lane 3 finishing up right now with a 3:40.89, and yeah, 3:40.89. It says they took third, but they actually took second in this case. Just some mishaps as always with technology, as we know and love. Third place, 3:51.79 in lane 2, followed by lane 5 closing in on that final 5 yards here to secure a 4:04. It says 4:05. They touched a little earlier than that, but 4:04 roughly for lane 5. Lane 6 getting a 4:06, and 4:10.37 for the Wildcats in lane 1. Well, that concludes everything that we've had here tonight. It has been a pleasure to speak with you all over on ETV. And as always, thank you so much for joining us on ETV. And for those here in person, thank you for coming. Thank you to our sponsors for supporting the boys swim and dive here at Eagan. And our next meet is going to be next Tuesday for senior night as the Eastview Lightning take on the Eagan Wildcats. As always, thank you so much for joining me, and take care, and I'll catch you next time.
Senior night. Come early. We will be announcing the seniors at 5:30. Please come early to Tuesday night's meet. Again, 5:30 is when the seniors will be announced. We look forward to seeing you then. Again, safe travels home.